Nice to meet you all. My name is Krishanti. I'm the marketing manager at Increasingly. And today, alongside Namogoo, we'll be talking about optimizing the customer journey to maximize ROAS. So it's no secret that the digital advertising industry is seeing some significant increases in pricing. Apple has implemented ad targeting and privacy changes, which is making it increasingly difficult and more expensive to reach audiences on social advertising channels. Meta, for example, has reported that they're seeing a 61% increase in advertising costs. And Google has also reported that in the first quarter of this year, 14%, their cost per clicks increased by 14%. And we can't forget that with the rising of cost of living across the globe, customers are less likely to be spending on non-essential items. So as we move into this challenging retail climate, in this webinar, we'll be talking about how brands can overcome these challenges and leverage the customer journey to drive better return on ad spend and more revenue across the website. So in our panel today, we have the e-commerce manager at Namogoo, Tal Lior, and she'll be speaking alongside marketing director at Increasingly, Chloe Hall. So we'll start with a short intro from both. Chloe, would you like to take the stage?
Yeah, so hi everyone, nice to virtually meet you all. I'm Chloe. I've worked in the retail and technology space for nearly a decade, working with lots of brands across the globe. And today, as Krish mentioned, I'm marketing director at Increasingly. So we are an e-commerce product bundling platform, and we work with brands and retailers to help them improve the customer experience and drive up average order value. So probably the easiest way to explain our technology is frequently bought together. I'm sure everyone's familiar with this on Amazon, and we basically power this for the rest of the web and have bundling tools for on-site, in-store, and in marketing channels. So yeah, really happy to be here with Tal and to hopefully share some insights into how you can use your channels more effectively and to improve your return on ad spend.
Okay, so hi everyone, I'm Tal and it's great being here today. So again, I'm a growth manager for over a decade. I've been helping many e-commerce brands develop their on-site online stores and launching them. I was involved in campaigns creation, customer clubs foundation, and many other marketing activities to fuel e-commerce growth. Today, I work at Namogoo. We are a customer digital continuity platform that is dedicated to creating personalized experience based on real-time and non-PII enriched data. What we do is we allow e-commerce brands to maximize every touch points you have with shoppers to increase online and profitability and revenue. And I hope that I'll be happy to assist with return on ad spend today.
Awesome. Well, it's great to have you both on board today. Before I get started with the session, I just want to remind the audience that we do have a Q&A section in the right-hand side. So if you've got any questions throughout the session, please drop them in there and we'll go through them at the end. So let's get started with the session. So as I mentioned before, rising cost of living is rising across the globe. And in the world of advertising, it's costing more and more than ever to acquire customers. As a result, retailers are finding that their margins are stretched and return on ad spend is diminishing. So in this challenging climate, when thinking about the customer journey online, what optimization tactics can be taken to improve ROAS and on-site revenue? Tal, would you like to start with this one?
Yes, I will. I think that first of all, it's important to understand that what we're calling optimization today, it's not really optimization, but more of an experimentation, right? Because what we do is we take two options, we test them, and then we apply the winning option after a while. But there are two problems with this process. First of all, we are only applying what worked after the fact, and not really when shoppers needed it. The second problem is this tactic is only one-size-fits-all approach, right? It doesn't suit all your shoppers, which you are not seizing all the opportunities you can. So what I would suggest you to maximize your OS is to apply a more dynamic one-to-one personalization at every stage of the customer journey, from acquisition to on-site tactics, and then after they left. Let me drill down into some examples, okay? In terms of acquisition, we always pay attention first to the targeting strategies, right? To bring the right audience to our store. But because everything that's been going on with privacy regulation, the traditional targeting has become more and more limited. But actually, it opened up new opportunities to target new segments that are not based on PII data, the personal identifiable information, right? And actually, these segments are far more valuable for e-commerce businesses. Let's just think of what you can do with targeting Amazon's frequent buyers or targeting shoppers based on their intent to purchase. You can target coupon lovers, cashback lovers. You can personalize for night shoppers versus day shoppers, and the list goes on and on. Okay, so, but targeting is not enough. What these smart segments actually do is allow you to understand the buyer persona, the buyer lifestyle and their needs, their habits, their shopping behavior. So you can actually personalize and adjust your campaigns, your ad copy, the creative, even the content that you serve to make the most of your advertising channels and improve ROAS. Okay, I want to also talk a little bit about the on-site tactics. So definitely one of the most important stages of the shopper's journeys is that when they reach your site, right? You manage to bring shoppers to your store and now they are browsing it. So you should definitely use all the strategies you can to maximize every opportunity that landed on your site. In general, you need to give each shopper the most accurate experience for them, right? While they're browsing. You can do this by identifying parameters such as the level of intent. Every shopper that visits your site has different level of intention, right, to purchase. Each one is motivated by a different incentive. Some of them don't need any incentive at all. And you need to give each shopper the right discount or incentive when it's most suitable for them. So you don't want to annoy or interfere the journey, but only to enhance your on-site marketing, right? You can identify intent by creating these micro segments based on the source of visitors came from, the activity you're on site, or the type of pages they viewed, and many more factors. There is also an automated process in which you can use smart pop-ups like with intent-based promotion that knows if to pop, when to pop, and also the minimum discount each shopper needs to convert. This is only one example, right? There are other parameters you can use, like browsing environment. You can identify shoppers on your site with low internet speed or CPU strength and serve them a lightweight checkout funnel. You can identify privacy-sensitive customers and only serve a guest checkout for them. The list goes on how you don't need to really use personal data to personalize and optimize your journeys. Lastly, I don't want to forget just to optimize your post-site experiences as well. That's it.
Cool. So just from my point of view, Tal, I think those were all really great points. Totally agree with, dynamic one-to-one personalization, targeting different types of customers, coupon lovers, cashback lovers. I think those are all really great points. If you think about the way a customer's shopping, the customers are always looking to complete something. They're looking to complete a look. They're looking to complete an outfit or a beauty regime. So retailers should really be thinking about how they can help customers buy everything they need in one place. Customers value convenience. Customers don't want to be shopping around at multiple websites. There's a reason why we all shop at Amazon, and this is because it's just ultra convenient. But Amazon is actually way more expensive than most retailers, but they've just nailed this convenience piece, so they're miles ahead of everyone else in this regard. So bringing it back to Krish's question about improving ROAS and on-site revenue, actually delivering highly convenient, highly personalized experiences will help retailers win in today's environment. So actually, when a customer lands on your website, how can you make the most out of those customers? And increasing average order value is one lever you can pull to improve your ROAS. And I think there's obviously lots of ways you can do this. I think Tal pointed out a few. But one is through discount events. Obviously, you can do that to drive conversion rate and to drive average order value. But another more effective way is to actually implement technology to help aid that convenience and average order value. Of course, I'm like slightly biased because I do work for a technology company which is designed to drive up product attachment, but there are plenty of tools out there to help you enhance customer experience and drive value. So if I take one example of using, frequently bought together tools, the benefit of using these techniques is that you're able to encourage the purchase of additional products without eating into your margin and without using discounts. So if companies embrace, if they do this and also embrace their own first-party data, so looking at their own historic purchase data and customer intent data, you can really start to recommend highly relevant products and product combinations based on what your customers actually want to buy. So we do this for our clients across the purchase journey on site. But I also wanted to briefly talk about how you can use this same sort of technique in customer acquisition channels. So we've actually started to experiment by displaying product bundles within Google Shopping and actually putting product bundle advertisements straight into Google Shopping search results. And the benefit of doing this is that you're able to generate, double the amount of Google Shopping adverts. You're able to take up more real estate in Google Shopping search results and actually push your competitors below the fold. And due to the nature of these ads, they're multi-product, your ROAS is always going to be higher. So I think, that's just one way that you can improve ROAS and on-site revenue by just, utilizing that customer convenience piece and optimizing your acquisition channels more effectively.
Yeah, I think they're all really good points that you've mentioned. I think the one around convenience does definitely make a lot of sense. I think thinking about things like Deliveroo and Uber Eats, I know many people put the price is much more than you would spend on the restaurant itself, but people prefer that convenience, having that delivery straight to their door and being able to track it. That whole experience people pay more for. So it says a lot in terms of how much people value convenience and time being saved. So when thinking about sort of long-term tactics, what would you suggest to sort of future-proof your e-commerce strategy? Chloe, would you like to start with this one?
Yeah. So immediately I can think of two strategies that I think are overlooked by quite a few brands and retailers. And the first one is actually diversifying acquisition channels and not relying on a single source of customer acquisition. And more specifically, it's about potentially considering selling your products on marketplaces or even launching your own marketplaces. And actually research by Internet Retailing suggests that by the year 2025, marketplaces are going to account for 45 to 50% of online spend, which is absolutely massive. So obviously there's long-standing established players like Amazon, eBay, Zalando that do obviously dominate the landscape. But there are more niche marketplaces that are giving some brands a competitive advantage. So an example of this could be Farfetch. They're a niche luxury brand marketplace. And what the benefit of what they're doing is they're offering a more kind of experiential and inspirational shopping experience, similar to kind of concept stores or boutiques. And this is in contrast to websites like Amazon, where it kind of represents, daily shopping at a supermarket or something like that. And actually in the UK, there are a growing number of brands that have actually already taken advantage of this and launched their own marketplaces. So recently, Superdrug have launched their own marketplace and B&Q has launched their own marketplace. And for those of you that aren't in the UK, those are kind of big brands. Superdrug is a big beauty brand and B&Q is a big sort of homewares brand. So bringing it back to your question, Krish, putting your brand on a marketplace is a really cost-effective way to introduce your products to new customers, potentially expand into new markets, and can also help you acquire new customers in a really cost-effective way because they have huge databases and it's a really easy place for customers to discover new brands. And also, if you were potentially considering launching on a marketplace, this allows you to, potentially launch your products in a new market, test your products in a new market without the huge commercial outlay, because you don't have to set up your own online shop. There's a shop already available to you in the local language. You don't have huge logistical or infrastructure costs. It's already there. So marketplaces create, great environment to test new products in new regions. And the second strategy I think retailers should consider employing to drive better ROI is actually working through the affiliates channel to implement technology to improve conversion rate. This is one way that we work with our partners, and it's obviously been hugely beneficial to us, as it's easy for us to kind of get in contact with retailers, and it's easy for the retailers to simply test new technologies without the huge commercial outlay and huge implementation processes. And I think a lot of marketers overlook the affiliates channel, the partnerships channel, as being one that exclusively focuses on just driving inbound traffic to a brand's website through kind of traditional cashback websites or discount code websites that then just hopefully converts and then you pay a commission to that partner. But actually, recently, this channel is being transformed because lots of new technology partners are using this channel to implement their technology. And it's a way for brands to actually pay for this technology. It's run on a performance model, so brands only pay for the sales that these technology providers convert. So companies that are embracing this approach can test and learn quickly and actually enhance their customer experience without huge upfront investment. So those would be two kind of strategies I think that would help future-proof your ROI.
Awesome. Tal, would you like to add anything to that? I think you're on mute.
Yeah, so I wanted to say that I totally agree with Chloe. Experimenting with different channels, marketplaces, and influencers is also another great channels to be experimenting with. Is super important. I also want to say that when I think of long-term strategies, it always comes to mind brand and brand perception. I think that you need to make sure that you understand your shopper's pain point and ever-changing needs at all times and reflect values that matter to them. Secondly, I would double down on customer retention. To build a sustainable ROI positive e-commerce channel, I think that we should all craft an engaging experience that actually nurture loyalty and build trust and help you establish long-term relationships with customers. Obviously, as they've already purchased once from you, and if they had a good experience, then it's much easier and more cost-effective to get them to purchase from you again. And this is also increases ROAS. So to achieve this, you can also, you should analyze your data. You should find what customers really care about, what moves the needle for different shopper types. And in general, you should put an extra focus on your customer loyalty programs and content marketing, customer marketing activities.
Yeah, they're really great points. I think the one around sort of understanding your customer is really important, particularly the pain points, because as you mentioned, Tal, customer retention is so vital to improving ROAS because you're leveraging the customers that you have. And again, Chloe, the point you made around sort of diversifying customer acquisition channels is also a great point because platforms like marketplaces are helping brands to sort of understand new products and launch new products into new markets without those sort of heavy costs that come with doing it in sort of the traditional direct-to-consumer ways. So when thinking about the channels retailers can use to advertise their products, the impending demise of third-party cookies and Apple's iOS privacy updates have put significant strains on advertising capabilities. Customers now have more control than ever over where their data is shared. And as a result, we are seeing that advertising prices are surging. Let's not forget that stat I mentioned earlier around Meta reporting a 61% increase in prices. So with this in mind, what advice would you give to retailers to overcome this and to drive better ROI from your advertising?
Okay, so I think I can start. And I think it's safe to say that we should all, as marketers, rehab ourselves from relying on cookies and third-party data. I just recently read a stat that only 4 out of 10 consumers actually agree to app tracking. So as a butterfly effect, it affects your audience building. It affects your ability to keep cohesive customer journeys, ad effectiveness, and also in turn, your ROAS. So what I think you should do is, first of all, we should all start shifting to anonymous data. The use of the non-PII data that we just talked about earlier, you can use it first to personalize and accurate your marketing efforts to bring shoppers that are more likely to convert in the first place. Then you can also use this data to adjust the experience for different shoppers with different needs. Also, I think you should make sure to keep a cohesive experience, like that the ad, the creative that make a shopper click is aligned with the content the visitor sees on the landing page, the email, the SMS, in the retargeting campaign, and so on. So consistency is the key here. I'm sorry. Okay, another activity that I can advise to invest in is collecting shoppers' personal information. First of all, it will free you up from relying on platforms and third-party data. And not only you'll be able to target these shoppers on any channel, but you'll also be able to personalize for them based on the personal data they provided to you. Now, I know that consumers are becoming more and more data savvy and conscious, but if you'll provide a real value and get real creative, you'll see how they'll be willing to give you their information. If I can think of some examples, you can use quizzes or tools like Gift Finder, Product Matcher, or Bundle Creator. It will also help you shorten the shopper's path to purchase, by the way. So these are my advice.
Tal, I was really resonating with the fact that if you're providing value to your customers, they will give you data. And I think that's so true. And I think going back to your point about customer retention and loyalty initiatives, I think this is going to be absolutely key for 2022. But, I just wanted to kind of mention that because I was just like agreeing with you, everything you were saying.
Yeah, free yourself up from other platforms, even from our solutions, right? Just give you the power to really personalize with no need to rely on nobody else.
Exactly. But also just going back to the stat that Krish mentioned in her question, that advertising costs have gone up 61% in Meta, which I think is absolutely huge. I think it's funny that advertising costs have gone up at the same time as Google and Facebook's share price is going down. So without being a conspiracy theorist about it, it's funny that retailers and brands and retailers are bearing the brunt of this cost. So, I mean, how can we wean ourselves off these really expensive acquisition channels now that we're losing cookies and privacy laws are getting tougher and tougher? I think the answer is simple. Go back to the original formula, make more money from your current customers and spend less acquiring them. So as Tal mentioned, focusing on customer retention initiatives, I think will be huge for this year. And, it's no secret that nurturing your current customers is the most cost-effective form of marketing. And using, incentives to strategically build your first-party data, I think is key. I know this is something that Namogoo supports brands with, and I'm sure Tal can talk more on this point. But really, I think you shouldn't be actually rewarding new customers. They haven't proved their loyalty yet. You should really be treating your most loyal, your most high-value customers differently. And a tech partner that we work with, Tokiwoki, actually helps brands build kind of online communities. And the purpose of this is to offer engaging experiences that support long-term loyalty and retention strategies. So these are things like events, competitions, product reviews, surveys, and even gamification elements. So brand communities, I think, really supercharge advocacy and turn the brand's best customers actually into ambassadors. So in conclusion to this answer, I think brands should be taking an advocacy-first approach to their current customers in an era where we're heading into cookieless commerce and heightened privacy laws, which makes retargeting and customer acquisition super challenging. You need to make the most out of your current customers.
Thanks both. I think you've made some really good points, particularly around customer retention, which sort of leads well into our next question. I think that point you made, Chloe, around sort of rewarding your current customers rather than new customers is so key. I often see discount codes for sort of your first order or as a new customer, and I wonder you know, if I shop there very often, I would expect to see that discount myself rather than for a new customer. So I totally agree with you on that point. So moving on to our next question, which does sort of fit into this topic quite well. When thinking about sort of lifetime value and how to improve customer retention, what would you say are the sort of key considerations that retailers should be thinking about?
Okay, so I can start. The basics, I think, for customer retention is actually turning your data into intelligence and truly understand your customer needs and wants, okay? You should try to build persona segments based on your data to really tap into their world. By doing so, you'll be able to cross-sell and upsell product they even haven't thought of, but actually fit their lifestyle and personality. So, as well as their past purchases and, of course, buying characteristics. You should try to understand the channels that work best for them and where they engage with you the most. Then you can personalize your offering wherever they are online, okay? It will both show them that you understand them, but you will also provide a highly relevant marketing experience, which means greater ROAS, right? Another thing to pay attention is that your customer marketing should offer different value propositions, right? Your customers should have access to benefits that others don't have, just like Chloe just mentioned. If I think of several examples, as customer can get discount to new collection, while other shoppers only get discounts for the latest season's items, or early access for special editions, and so on. Another thing you can do to improve retention, I think, is to offer tools or content to help your shoppers both use your products and enjoy them, and also make them feel so happy and good with themselves about the fact that they chose to purchase from you. If I think of an example, I'm taking a healthy vegan chocolate brand, okay? As a healthy vegan chocolate brand, you can send them emails with healthy, tasty recipes, right? But you can also align with the cause and to show them that by purchasing from you, they actually contributed to enhance animal welfare. Okay, by reminding them the value they get from purchasing from you, it will make sure that they will keep purchasing again and again. That's it.
Just building on your points there, Tal, definitely agree with a lot of what you said. But I think one thing to really note is that true loyalty can't be strictly transactional. Loyalty is emotional. Loyalty is about being attached to a brand you love. Trust, one that shares your values. But I think, you know, as marketers, we're all guilty of this, but we tend to rely on discounts that dilute our brand value. And over time, customers are simply just trained to wait for the next promotion. So, for example, when looking at our data, for example, for a beauty client, we've seen that customers who purchase a face wash, for example, will then go on to purchase the toner or the scrub that was potentially influenced for a product bundle, and then they'll end up seeing better results long term. This means that, you know, on-site optimization has played a role in the value of growing this customer long term. So I think that brands that find the sweet spot between customer acquisition and lifetime value are going to be able to grow at a much quicker pace. So online technologies can help brands reduce their customer acquisition by encouraging the sale of additional products, create better, you know, more frictionless experiences, and subsequently play a role in lifetime value. And brands should be focusing on customer advocacy initiatives to support this. So as I mentioned before, you know, segmenting customers, so you're only rewarding those high value, those profitable customers who have proven to be loyal. And actually the fact is that 40% of customers trust recommendations from friends and family over any other form of advertising, but only 4% of marketers are actually investing in this form of marketing. So I think that marketers really need to reframe their thinking and embrace advocacy and put customers at the heart of their strategy. And I think that will be really future-proofing their businesses, especially this year, as, you know, it's getting more and more difficult to acquire new customers.
Those are really great points. Thanks, both. I think the one around sort of understanding your customer and really proving that value is so important, particularly more than just the transactional basis that you said, Chloe, but looking at the data that they provide and understanding what it is that they seek from you and sort of how can you provide them that value through your brand and how can you make them want to come back for more by building that personalized experience through technology and expanding their product knowledge through bundles and things like that. So that's great. Thanks for your insight, guys. So taking all the points we've discussed today into consideration, what would you say is sort of your one key takeaway for our audience today?
Okay, I can start. I think that first of all, privacy regulation shouldn't stop you, okay? There are new and more sophisticated ways to segment shoppers today. And personalization is probably the holy grail of ROAS. So as well as being able to respond in real time. Okay, so, but we need to remember that all of this is based on data and a lot of it. So just try to have an infrastructure that enables you to do all that, to gain these insights and to re-engage with any type of shopper throughout the customer journey. And that's it for me.
Chloe?
Yeah, so I think my point of view, it's about experimentation, I think. Don't just stick with the status quo. If you're sitting here as an e-com manager, as an e-commerce director, and you have the same keyword ads running, the same discount campaigns in a continual cycle, you're not helping your customers' loyalty and you're not encouraging lifetime value. And this is actually eating into your margins. So I think, really consider using technologies to optimize your on-site traffic. Treat your most loyal customers differently and reward those that keep coming back to spend more. Don't be afraid to outsource your innovation. In a world where advertising costs will continue rising and competition is only getting higher, customer advocacy is the most important. It's more important than ever. And using your data to understand and target your customers more effectively, I think, is key to survival.
That's really interesting. Thank you both. I've learned loads of insights from this session. I think the point around sort of championing metrics like AOV to get more from your customers that are engaging with your brand is so key, and looking at ways to build that loyal customer base through experience and building that value proposition. I think they're really great points that you've all mentioned. So that's kind of it for our discussion today, but we can move swiftly on into the sort of Q&A. We've got some questions added in already. So let's get started. The first one here I've got is, what is a good ROAS in today's ad climate? Who would like to take that one on first?
I don't mind answering that one, but I think that's actually really difficult to answer because I think it totally depends on your industry. Totally depends on your vertical, the kind of products you're selling, and even seasonality. So it would be difficult to answer without knowing kind of what sector you're in and things like that. Because we have clients, that run on a typical ROAS of around 3%, and then some that can be upwards of 11-12%. So without kind of knowing your industry, I personally feel it's quite difficult to answer. I don't know what you think, Tal.
I totally agree. It's difficult to say something in general. I know that a common ROAS benchmark is a ratio or 4-to-1 ratio, meaning for every $4 in revenue, it's a $1 in ad spend. But it's so dependent. It depends on so many variables that I can't really answer that.
No problem. So let's move on to the next question then. The other question I've got here is retargeting still an effective strategy, even though the audience is limited?
Okay, I think I can take this one. Well, obviously, traditional retargeting is getting less effective. But, I mean, if you can't even tell the product that your shoppers viewed, then it's obviously less effective. But as we already mentioned, there are technologies to get through this, like to get around this. And these technologies actually let you not only regain information about your visitors' behavior, their pages that visit an event that happened on your site, but also enriches the data you have about your shoppers to allowing you really to be more sophisticated with optimizing the customer journey. So This is once. We can take, for example, the CustomerJourney operating system, right? It not only does all this, but it also identifies for e-commerce brands the places you can scale or where you could optimize. Actually, it's gapping all the blind spot and hidden opportunities in the data. So I think, yeah, this is, even if traditional retargeting has become less efficient, there are new ways. Like when really one door is closing, another doors open up. This is really the case here. I do believe it.
We're always finding new, when one door closes, as you said, we're always finding new ways of doing things.
Yeah, exactly. I think that humans have great minds and the ability to find, the answers to any problem that will surface.
Definitely.
So moving on to our next question that we have here in the Q&A. What strategies have brands been using to improve ROAS and CPA since all these privacy regulations have been implemented? I think we sort of touched upon this during the session, but who would like to sort of start that one?
I can say that, we already talked about pushing for higher cart value and optimizing and personalizing in real time. Other strategies to improve ROAS can be any on-site conversion optimization, right? A/B testing different cart models such as cart slider that slides from the side, or cart pop-up beside the regular cart page, or guest checkout, short forms, one-step checkout, offering a variety of payment methods, and so on. Anything that improves the on-site conversion rate optimization.
Just to build on what Tal said, I think, this has obviously been a theme throughout this whole session, but obviously on-site optimization techniques, experimentation, everything that Tal's been talking about. But I think really you shouldn't be pouring money into a channel that's just getting more expensive. I think a lot of the time marketers, we just think the easy answer is just let's just put more money into it type thing. But actually, as I've said, but I just want to reiterate this, is you just really need to be more effective on your website. So brands that are investing in the customer experience and conversion rate strategies will be winning, along with customer retention initiatives. So that's just my piece to that question as well.
Awesome. I think that's the last of all of our questions today. So if you do have any further questions, you can reach out to us directly. And also, I know that we'll be sending you the recording in the next 48 hours. So you should have that as well. But thank you all for joining us today. We hope this was an insightful session, and we look forward to seeing you at the next one.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.